Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So, I haven't been around for a while. There's reasons for that. We're not going to go into it. Yesterday was a very interesting situation that happened on the streaming platform Twitch. So I'm going to preface this video with a few things first. Okay? Because, of course, the cancel mob and the left-wing extremists and the crazy right-hand people will be all out in force thanks to this controversy. To clarify, there is a violent, criminal, genocidal war going on in the Middle East right now, being committed by an ally of the United States, being armed and funded by American tax dollars to the tune of $250 billion over the course of the last 5 years, 10 years. I mean, the money just keeps pouring out of the spigot, so for us to keep track of it is pretty hard. We do have the congressional bills that clear the funding, but I'm not going to digress into all that. Number one, this is bad. Number two, we should be interested in getting this stopped as soon as possible. There's no discussion about this. This isn't a left-wing or a right-wing idea. This is bad for the entire world. Not just Americans, not just Jews, not just Muslims, and just Palestinians. For everybody, this is bad. The level of humanitarian crisis and violence and death is unacceptable on any level if committed by any country, any group. So the things that asmongold, Twitch streamer, high-profile YouTuber, said are beyond the pale. And I think he realizes this. His rhetoric was not properly described, but it was also not properly refuted by Hasan Piker, who spent nearly 3 hours looping through talking points that he learned on Twitter, trying to one-up or usurp or educate asmongold. He did a horrendous job of it. And any left-winger out there might want to actually realize that if you're going to have somebody represent you on a world stage, on a public platform, they need to be a better rhetorician. Hasan Piker is not. Whether it's a language barrier thing or a mental faculty, he's not. He's really bad at it. And what he did for 3 hours was loop with asmongold about Nazi talking points, about how the Houthi terrorists that he platformed was the same as Anne Frank. You can say the things that asmongold said were bad, but Hasan has a number of gaffes like this too. And this whole thing was fucking dumb and awful, and it should have been cut off after about 15-20 minutes because it needs to be said over and over and over and over again. Just calling your opponents Nazis and right-wingers isn't going to solve the problems that we have in this country in regards to how we view other people, both domestically and internationally. And what's really bad is left-wingers and left-leaning people on Twitch are now a protected class. It is very clear that there is a level of bias on that platform. Now, I'm not saying that, right-wingers should be able to come out onto the platform and scream anti-trans, anti-gay, Nazi talking points. Nobody's saying that. We're talking about a level of intelligent discourse that doesn't violate Twitch's toss policy. It's literally impossible for right-wingers to get on that platform, or even people with a centrist moderated viewpoint to actually get on that platform and thrive. They are targeted regularly. Hasan, after his conversation with asmongold, made it very clear that he was going to target Asmon for a ban. And what happened? Both his asmongold and his Zachar channels are now banned. Now, it doesn't matter. Twitch doesn't make any money off of Asmon's channel. He doesn't collect subs anymore. He's established enough and makes enough money on YouTube. He doesn't need Twitch as a platform. But for a lot of other content creators, they don't have that luxury. So I will provide a link on this video because I wanted to separate the two videos so this one doesn't potentially get DMCA'd by the left-winger who's the topic of the video that I posted. Our lovely boy Mike from PA Central Committee, who spent It's still going. I didn't want to record the whole stream. I don't have enough hard drive space. Spent over an hour deriding Asmongold for his education level, his whiteness, his income, his physical appearance, his mental faculties. Said that his house should be bulldozed, that his father is a war criminal. On and on and on. I will link the video in this video so I do not get DMCA'd by this clown, because he probably would DMCA the other video. That's how petty these people are. You can't have discourse with them at all. So Twitch is fine with this. And this guy has made other threats, along with some of the things that Hasan Piker has done. Most notably, again, platforming a terrorist. He was on a stream with Nick Pollums and literally showed a terrorist propaganda video. Nothing happens. Now, yeah, personally, I don't think that should matter. I think I should also be able to post ISIS terrorist videos and make it clear as to who these people are and what they do. But you can't, because as a right-winger or a moderate, I would get banned for platforming terrorist, for not platforming terrorist propaganda, but for equating it to Muslims or people of color, or being against emancipation movements. I want you to understand this. And, you know, Asmongold did not formulate his thoughts correctly and did not express them correctly. But for people to deny that Hamas has ever targeted Israeli civilians that have never raised a hand or a gun to a single Palestinian or Muslim before, you have to have a few screws loose. And this is what Hasan Piker does. He literally has basically implied that Palestinians are unfortunate children that don't know what they're doing and have never harmed a fly. Not for nothing, and I will say this myself. If October 7th only targeted military installations inside Israel, and that's all they did, I would be out there saying, good job. Good job, Hamas. Because anybody with a brain understands that Israel is an oppressive ethno-state. Anybody. You don't have to be a right-winger or a Nazi or a communist or a socialist or a Democrat or a liberal or a Republican to understand that what's going on right now in Israel is horrible. And it is being supported by American tax dollars that could be spent in a million other different ways. The fact that we have FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association, literally begging for money right now, when just a month ago we sent $8 billion, not million, not thousand, $8 billion of aid and armament to Israel. Just a few days ago, we sent one of the most expensive missile systems in the world to both Qatar and Israel. I don't remember voting for that, do you? And this is the problem, because what you're seeing is in Israel is a test bed for things that our government here will not unlikely do, more than likely will eventually do to us here in America. When things get really bad and we have to really start fighting for things like, I don't know, health care and shelter and food, our government will do the same to us. So I'm going to wrap this video up because I don't want it to be too long. But I encourage everybody watching this video today to report Central Committee's channel. And not just Central Committee, any other channel on that platform that engages in the level of degradation and personal attacks, that engages in platforming terrorists, be them right-wing or left-wing, that engages in any form of this, because it should not be accepted. Twitch has no problem going after women, who show skin. And I'm not talking about Twitch thoughts. I'm talking about women that body paint. I'm talking about people that draw human figures, that have literally had their channels banned for indecent exposure. Twitch literally had a creator named Mr. Girl that talked about platforming pedophiles, who stayed on that platform for months before he was deplatformed. Twitch was featured in Forbes articles about the degree of exposure minors have to pedophiles on that platform. But endorsing terrorism and murder and genocide and rape, Hasan Piker, look up his comments about that, that's fine, as long as it comes from the mouth of a aligned left-wing content creator. It has to stop. I'm sorry. This country is losing its fucking mind. We have literally lost our minds. We can't engage in normal discourse, and we are hell-bent on silencing opposing discourse. We're no longer the land of the free. The First Amendment is being eroded at an enormously swift level. It's not slow anymore. People thought this would just be, book banning or silencing one political spectrum. It's not. It's getting progressively worse and worse. And depending on who's in office, the target changes, but the effect is still the same. Google needs to be broken up. Amazon needs to be broken up. And these platforms need to be held responsible for the things that they project out there. Not just to minors, but to women, to men, to minorities. There needs to be some degree of accountability now, because this has gotten out of hand. It was bad enough watching the Hasan and asmongold conversation. Not only was my disappointment in asmongold so big, but my disappointment in Hasan for being a poor rhetorician. And then to see other content creators jump on the bandwagon of attacking asmongold. It wasn't about educating him. It wasn't about, hey, once he's unbanned, I'd like to have a conversation, an adult conversation with him that didn't involve name calling him a right-winger or a Nazi or a genocidal white supremacist. Actual conversation. Because that's how you change people. That's how you get people educated. The left has no interest in this anymore. The left doesn't want to put any effort in. I actually listened to the Central Committee saying that he contributes to the world. What has he contributed to the world exactly? He streams to about an average of 2,000 people on Twitch. He's Hasan Piker's waiting room. Has done nothing for the world. Has failed at politics. What has he done for the world? asmongold, on the other hand, runs 3 companies. Provides platforms, content creators, provides an independent publishing platform for game developers. What has Mike from PA done? What has he done? I've never seen him at a soup kitchen. I've never seen him at a committee planning meeting. He claims to be a campaign advisor to people who have actually publicly said they've never worked with him. So, yeah. But once again, like and subscribe. I wasn't going to do political stuff on here. I was actually going to think about streaming New World, but plans change. Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.